Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Still Standing with Wayne Kavanaugh and Kim Meredith. I'm Wayne.
And I'm Kim Meredith.
Yes, you are. The world's a better place for it, Kim. Thanks to the Canine Chronicle celebrating over 50 years of canine excellence. And their magazine's just unbelievable. The articles, everything about it, it's just top shelf. So we again thank the Canine Chronicle and Tom and Amy for giving us this opportunity. We want to talk about, well, Kim's wearing cool glasses right now. I
Yeah,
think they're
you like
fashionable. She thinks they're functional. So tell us what they're for, Kim.
well, okay, so I have two looks. I'll
Mm,
model both. This is the daytime
yeah.
doctor ordered UV filter
Mhm.
glasses for if you're watching television or your computer. So these are the gangsta. This is the gangsta. This is for nighttime. So what do you think?
Very
I
nice.
they're plastic and they're from the doctor.
I'm
So
not sure we can take you serious with those on. I think the other ones are okay. The
I
UV
think
ones.
these are a little more, what do you think, appropriate?
I think they're cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, librarian style.
Oh,
So, and you're
yeah.
wearing these because?
Because I'm old and
Yeah,
because I have cataracts.
exactly.
And we were just discussing, Wayne and I, all the maladies that us older judges are going through
Mhm.
from various parts of our bodies,
Yeah, lots.
from head to toe, and yeah, and surgeries, and you name it. So yesterday, I had my first cataract surgery on my left eye,
Mhm.
and I'm now restricted to these UV glasses for a couple days and no eye makeup for a week. So I will scare everybody with that. And it's very important because these are it's an improved lens that's called an LAL. If in case anybody's interested, it's a light adjustable lens where they go in and they can tweak three times. They can put the lens in, then they do extensive testing and they can go in and they hit it with a UV laser to tweak what you're seeing in your eyesight, which is pretty cool. Which is they in the meantime, they don't want you having a lot of UV rays in your eyes and messing with the lens. So
Don't
here I
stare
am.
don't scare an eclipse or something. Um,
Yeah,
I've had this, cataract surgery, and it's been a life changer. The amazing thing is colors look so much better. Um,
you're right.
but I did say to the guy, I said, "Hey, guy, if any dog show people come in here, don't tell them that we're all going blind." And he said, "Well, baseball umpires come in here all the time and tell me the same thing."
Yeah,
But don't worry,
exactly.
we can see your
Exactly.
dogs. That's why we have glasses and we have, but it is a
Yes.
thing, and we were talking about it a bit last week. Kim was saying how you had tremendous amount of cancellations from judges. This is an issue, and you had 3 or 4, right? Well, ended up with 4 judges that
Five.
need to be replaced, 5. And,
Five.
and this weekend, I don't know if I've been to a show in the last couple of months where someone hasn't been a replacement. We are an aging population of judges, and there's no real fix for it because it takes so long to get the 3 or 4 groups required to get you hired, and they rush people through. There's another way around it, of course, that's foreign judges who haven't judged more than 3 of a certain breed in their entire life coming down and doing specialties because they're available and they have those groups. Not to say they're not bad. I'm just saying there's a shortage. We all know it. The AKC knows it. So they're trying at doubling the number of foreign visitors, not foreign visitors, they call them visiting judges now.
Yeah.
Visiting judges can come from other countries without taking our tests or our standards in education. They can just come here. Now, it used to be 8, now 16 times a year because, again, we have that problem. And then again, it's taking so long for people to get through the process or too quickly to get through the process. And it's all because we need too many damn judges because we have too many damn shows. I know you're sick of me beating this horse, but it's just I think when people say too many shows, um, they just mean they think of the simplest thing like, yeah, there are too many. It's not only canary in the coal mine, it affects so many things. It's just a matter of
Absolutely.
judging. The big problem with judging today is too many shows. And that's because we don't have enough qualified people with a depth of experience to do all these shows. And when you got to spread them around all these shows that have 300 dogs at them, it's just not doable. Um, there's only 100 and there are only 120. I wrote down 100 123 shows last year there that were over 1,000.
Over 1,000. You're kidding me. Wow. Okay. I don't know. I
So
had 2,000. I mean, how many for 2,000? I mean, we were at 1998 with Wolfstock, so we're just
the
under.
the yeah, you're just not the top 10, I'm sorry, the top 50, no, top 25. AKC listed top 25. By the way, these listed, there are 1,724 dog shows. I've got to go through every one, figure out what state they're in, what division they're in, and the number of dogs entered. Or
That's, that's a lot of work.
1,724. I'm trying to get help with that, but I know that the top 50, no, I'm sorry, the top 25 shows, top 25 shows are Orlando cluster, Kentucky cluster. There's one other
Used
one.
to be, well, for many years, it
It's not a
was,
California one.
I could
Oh, and
say
Palm
he's,
Springs. It's
yeah,
Palm
Palm
Springs,
Springs,
Kentucky, and Orlando.
Stock was number
So
three. Yeah.
the 25 top shows are taken by them, Westminster, and one or two others. So
Yeah.
we're probably at an average now in the 500s per show. I've not done that for this year yet. And one of the reasons I haven't is the AKC is usually really good about getting these stats out. I'm still waiting for 2025 stats. The only thing they're publishing is 2024. And there's the if you go on to Amazon has all of the annual reports available to the public. You can even get them on the AKC's website, but when you go to the AKC's website, the last one is 2020. If you go for annual reports and search through
Hmm.
their website, you'll eventually find them. 2024 is the latest one. And that's an issue for people trying to get data for the 2025 season, 2026 season. So
And
it's still,
even if you can find it on
I know
the
how to
website's
find it.
so user
Yeah.
unfriendly,
Yeah.
you can't find anything. What I go and I Google what I want, and then it takes me to the right website, the AKC, website. It's crazy.
Well, the weird thing is they have this chart that has the dog show name, the date, where it is, and all that. But
Yeah.
it's not, you can't download it into an Excel file. So you can't sort on any number
Oh,
because it's all in one cell. So you can't
sure.
break the cells up to sort them. That's why I have to do them by hand. So it's really frustrating. But there are fewer shows over 1,000 than I thought. It looks like it's going to be a little more than that at the end of the day when I'm all wrapped up. It's not going to be over 2,000 of the 17, I mean, 250 of the 1,743 shows. So it's getting small. Now, remember, this data is 2 years old, and we know the
Sure.
trends are continuing down. So it's going to even be worse
Way downward.
when I get to,
Yes.
if I ever get the 26 data, it's going to be really scary as we get into 2027. But this is the way it is. So here's the problem with all these things. We have a judging problem for two reasons. Well, we have a lot of reasons. The biggest one is because we have too many shows. The other one is we have an aging population, and these cancellations are a big deal. They're a big deal. And when you have to, on Memorial Day weekend, Jim Thankers. I think Jim had, well, that club, the Kalamazoo cluster, which by the way is one of the biggest clusters in the country now. And there are over 1,000. Uh, they had 3 or 4 cancellations last minute. Some of them weren't that last minute, they were like 2 weeks before, but you had, some of them were the day before, including
Yeah.
me, and it was just a
Yeah.
Columbus specialty for me, but I was in the hospital that day. So this 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 is gonna keep happening. When every judge is booked for Memorial Day weekend, try to find one.
Sure.
So the reps are gonna have to be a little more flexible. They were for you, Kim, I know. Uh,
They were Yeah, they were amazing. Everybody was amazing. Everybody just kept their cool. I was just, like we talked about, friends that were doing specialties stayed over. It was a Herculean group effort. But yeah, no, you're right. And you've got to have cooperative reps that will roll with the
mhm.
punches, to be able to even pull it off. Yeah.
For example, this past weekend, one of the best judges we have, in my opinion, Ken Murray, um, is short. He's just a few breeds away from being an all-arounder in the non-sporting group, but he's judged the non-sporting group several times because as a substitute, because he almost has the whole group. Judge got sick. This weekend, they wouldn't let him do it because he didn't have the whole group.
What?
They got somebody
What?
else. So there needs to be a more universal, and I'm sure the reps get different directions or whatever, but there's gotta be a more universal
Was
decision
it
by them.
under if it's under an emergency, like, for instance, the office in AKC closes on Friday, say 12 noon, whatever, you can pretty much if it's an emergency, anybody can judge. Anybody,
Right.
literally.
But this there was a
You
n
find the
there was
best
a new
qualified person.
yeah, there was a new judge at the show who did have it, provisionals and whatever, but, I don't know, it's they're gonna have to get a little more flexible across the board, only because of these cancellations. This is getting
Yes.
to be a big deal. And there are the funny part is there are handlers, exhibitors who chase judges. One happened
Yes.
this weekend, a judge didn't show up and whoop, off you go to the other show you entered in. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, that makes it almost funny, but it's a situation that we need to deal with. And there's only 2 ways we can do it, and one is try to find a way to get our judging population, um, to the size. Here's a question, Kim. Do you think there's enough if we keep going and have 2,000 shows next year, are there enough people that have the depth of experience and the eye to fill 2,000 slots, even if they were given carte blanche? I don't know.
Um, I would say no,
Maybe.
in my opinion. I mean, I think that, I've been an exhibitor since 1972. I mean, there's a million of us that have been around that long, not a million, but lots of us that have been around that long. And we watch the really long time experienced judges that you want to bring a dog to, you want to bring your hopeful to, you want to hear what they have to say or what they think. And inevitably, people ask me, they'll say, okay, well, I'm glad I brought it. Like, what do you think? And we'll just, and they're like, yeah, yeah, I agree with you. I would fix this a little bit. I would do that a little bit, but there's no perfect dogs. And, how many judges these days would you even waste your time talking to about it because they don't know,
Well, when you've
Um,
got 2-a-days, I remember my dad when he first heard about 2-a-days, he's like, "You
yeah,
can't even be the best dog for a whole 24 hours?"
right,
It's
right. I,
he saw it differently, it's
I
like mind-boggling for him, right? Yeah.
Well, and the thing is too, some clubs are very good at doing the 2 in a day, and others are fail miserably. And you start judging at 8 o'clock in the morning, and you're not back to your hotel till 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
I personally have suffered through so many of them that don't know what they're doing
Mhm.
that I won't do them anymore. If they say we do 2 on this day, I say no. I'm sorry. I'm happy for your club if that's what you want to do, but I don't want to judge.
It's
If
mentally
I if,
exhausting as well. I mean, you still have a limit of 175 dogs, but it's mentally
right.
exhausting. You're changing these damn books, and by the way, come on, it's 2026. Do we really have to be writing on that damn I don't even know where they get that carbon paper anymore. They must buy it from a factory that went bust in 1947. I mean, really? You gotta press hard to record your note?
Yeah,
Well, come on.
you can't read it. You can't read through it at
And it
all.
gets
I
wet,
mean,
and it blows away. Well,
and
you don't
if you
press hard
don't
enough.
have a clipboard, there are these really flimsy, like little
Yeah,
thin cardboard things, and so you're trying to turn your pages over. You can't even write on anything.
yeah.
So I think I'm going to start giving judges gifts as clipboards, so little clipboards, so people can have something to write on, which is actually a pretty
Well,
good judge's
there's
gift.
usually a rock or a cell phone holding it down. I mean, some of the stewards are really cool. They bring this big heavy granite thing and put it there for you, you know? Uh, they know, but it's just silly. It's just
The stewards that make like little painted rocks. Like I had one there was used some sort of a metal disc from probably a machine shop,
yeah,
and they were painted red. And I thought, okay, well, this is a weird trophy, and I'm handing him out to the exhibitors. And she's as they walk by, she snatches them back,
yeah,
and then she finally tells me those aren't to go to the exhibitors, and they lose all their little painted rocks because some dumb judge
that's yeah,
gives it
there's
out to
that.
one of the exhibitors, right?
Well, I've bought some fairly expensive houses on my phone in an airport. If you can make a transaction that large on your
Yes.
cell phone in an airport, I don't know. I'm thinking you might be able to trust judges to use an iPad. And by the way, Australia's got a guy, he's been in touch with me, I hope he's listening to this and gets in touch again. He has it all done. He has the software, download it on a tablet, and when you sit there and by the way, we write this down, right, with our pen, pressing as hard as we possibly can to get through all these duplicates, triplicates. Is it more maybe it's 4 sheets, I don't know.
I think
Um,
it's
but
full,
you
yeah.
gotta pray, and all super turtles have different shapes, so you think you got it going on,
Mhm.
then you realize, "Oh, I just put a
Yeah,
1 there, and the dog's number's over here on this superintendent, but it should be over here. Oh, you're over here," and you gotta sit there and stare at the damn paper all day, where if it was set up universally in one format and just had to go boop, 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 1, 2, 3, 4, um, the superintendent then so I write it. Somebody makes a book, first of all, then I write it. And then I give it to Vicky at Mossbo or someone really good at this, there's plenty of them, and she
yeah,
reads the thing. And then she
right.
comes over at the end of the day and said, "Did you really mean this?" And I'm, "Oh, no, I guess I didn't mean." I have to initial that.
Yeah.
And then that goes to then she keys it in to go to the AK. How many times for and then someone at AKC keys it in. How many opportunities for errors are there along the way? A zillion?
Well, yeah, exactly. And this is an interesting thing. I was watching Tyler Crady, who does wind photographs, right? And he's amazing. His equipment is amazing. And so he has an electronic sign.
Mhm.
Instead of having to pull out the little things and
Yeah,
drop
yeah.
them in the slots and drop them in the
Ooh,
slots
high
and oh,
tech.
where's my best of opposite?
Yeah,
And then is it a major? And then they're stacking these all up and up. He just goes whoop, whoop, whoop,
yep,
whoop, and like,
mhm,
you know, it's like he's the only one I know that's done that.
yeah,
And it saves so much time.
yeah.
And I'm like, why can't we should be able to come up with something similar, just as you're saying, for judging.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we have in on our beautiful island of Venice, there's a San Marco restaurant with a little bar and a jazz guitar player. He's 80 years old. He's brilliant, and he plays this crazy melody of intricate notes, and he has an iPad, and that's all he
Yeah.
does. He looks
Yeah.
over, he touches it, boom, and he's playing. He even has and you'll see this now. You'll see musicians at small venues with just a guitar sounding like they have a whole band because they do on the pedals.
Sure.
And we're
Yeah.
sitting there going, "I'm gonna rate number" by the way, have you ever written number 14 next to number 14? I've done that once or twice. I meant to put one extra as fun. You did
I made every
the
mistake
iPad would
there is to.
reject that. The iPad would
Yeah.
re the program would direct they'd make no, you can't do that. Fix you right there. That's the best
Yeah.
part. It would not
Yeah.
let you give select to an open
Well,
bit.
there's somebody from Australia that's already got this figured out, seriously?
Yeah,
This
yeah,
is great. Is
yes,
he planning on marketing it?
and I think they've done it in Mexico at the World Show too, but it wasn't quite polished back then because they were trying to do it with microchips. So when your dog walked in the ring, and I think this is really good, but I'm not sure we can handle this one. We can't even give the superintendents iPads. But that you it was the gate had a arch around it. When you walk through, your dog was microchipped, and it made sure that that was the poodle. You couldn't finish the same poodle 14 times with different dog names,
That's very smart. Okay.
and do
I like
that. And
that.
then also
Yeah.
you can't make a mistake because we all make mistakes with things like owner handler, and especially when they have over merits and owner handler and bred by and puppies, and the books are different. For a lot of those, and you're not even sure. Can I put the veteran in there? Does he qualify? It was a specialty. It was an independent space. The veteran class was after your iPad program wouldn't let you do that. It wouldn't let
Sure.
you write in, like I just said, an open bitch for select, even though that's another rule change, by the way. Uh, what if you have 4 specials, 3 shouldn't be champions, and you've given best of breed to
Three
'em?
finished, you don't know how? Okay, got it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, you know how, but, people are afraid to withhold, or
Yeah,
they don't know enough. But anyway, 3 of them shouldn't even be champions. 1 is your best of breed winner. Your select could be your winner's dog, who's profoundly, infinitely better than the other 3. You can't do that. Even though he's
right.
the best dog in there, he's not the 2nd best. He's now still behind the 3 non-champions. Because I might think about changing that rule, but that's one thing.
But let me just challenge you with that a little bit. If he was so what you're saying is he's not as good as the best of breed dog, but he's better than the other 3 that are left.
Yeah.
But clearly, if you thought he was the best thing, you would just pull him to the breed anyway to begin
Oh,
with.
yeah, he was the best one,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Okay. Got it.
so here's what happens, this is why you can't do that, because the people want their grand champion points. It doesn't
Yes, he did.
matter if the dog is horrible, if he goes to enough shows, he can go 2nd every time. If there's only 2 East Beaverton Rocket Hounds or whatever the hell a new breed we're bringing in, and there's only 2 of them, one's horrible and one's the champion, the other one's gonna be a grand champion someday because he just goes to enough
Yeah.
shows. So they
Yeah.
want that to
And
happen.
they're going to enter their dogs and spend money and
Yeah,
enter their dogs. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
why not? Anyway, it's out of control. It's an amoeba that just has crept all over the planet. So, what do you do about this? Tom Gravy had an excellent editorial this week, something we've talked about for a long time. 200 miles between shows was meant when we had horse and buggies and Volkswagen vans and rocky roads, and it took a long time to get there. We now have $1 million houses with diesel engines, and you can bathe your dog on your way to the show in your RV, or you can just get in your fast car and drive down an interstate at 90 miles an hour in Texas and 70 miles an hour in Michigan and 75 in Michigan when you go farther enough north. You can be at the show in 4 hours. So
Mhm.
why do we have 200? It should be at least 300. Okay, that's gonna mean some small shows gonna have to drop off, and that's true. It's gonna have to
Yes.
happen, and there'll be a lot of things that need to be done. You can't just say, "You're too small," you just have to come up with a number and stick to it, parameters that you can't change and say, "If you're not getting this many dogs, you just can't have your shows." A lot of people wanna do that. I don't wanna do that. I wanna say, "You're just not getting at least 500 dogs. You can have a show, but guess what? They're not championship shows. They're open shows."
Yes. Yes. I think that's the only logical way to do it,
Yeah. So
really.
you're not offending anybody, they can still make their money. So the clubs are gonna say, "Well, I can't get enough dogs coming." So, yes, you can, because you can get all the points you want and even 1 major at the open shows. But to get that 2nd major, you have to go to a championship show. Or maybe you say you can get all the singles you want at an open show, but you can't get a major unless you go to the championship shows. And mix it up any way you wanna do it. But, I would think that top handlers wouldn't necessarily go to those shows, unless they wanted to had a bunch of class dogs to finish. So maybe the owner handlers who always seem to feel, they're second fiddle to the pros at Albridge at the championship shows, maybe they'll have their own little set of shows to play in and have their own owner handler system that might be beneficial for them at both shows. They can, or of course, go to both. It's a
Mhm.
minor league. And in minor league sports, I happen to know a little bit about them from hockey. Um, you hire the best refs and the best players you can get for that level of league. In Kalamazoo, we have ECHL team, East Coast Hockey League. Some of those guys go up and play in the show. You have to be a really good ref in the ECHL to get to the AHL. You have to be a really good ref in the AHL to get to the NHL. So these open shows could be kinda like a practice round for your judges too, and maybe they get more comfortable down there, before they come to the open shows. Maybe they have to judge so many shows there before they become I don't know, but something's gotta be done. There's lots of creative ways to do it. I'm all for the open show thing, just figure out how you wanna do it. We don't
Well, I
need
think, I think kind of what you're describing is what our fun matches used to be. I get
Yeah,
in California, we used to have 1,000, 1,200 entries of our fun matches in the 70s.
yeah.
And it was the same thing. It was like people that don't weren't even licensed to judge or wanted to learn, wanted to judge. It was a way for them to learn. It was for people to get their puppies out. So it's just, kind of like an accelerated form of that, which we dearly need. I think. I think
Well, how
that's a
about we
great
combine
idea.
those and have the open shows do match shows too? They can do 2 a days that way.
Sure,
There's ways for the clubs to make money with entry fees without having to put on a 5, 6-day cluster to try to get 400 entries.
right.
It's just, it needs to change, and it's too bad, but when we had each club when we had Saturday now I know I'm too old to say Saturday and Sunday shows only, but when I mention it on my Facebook, guess what? Thousands of people dive in and go, "Yes, we love that." You can't do that anymore, probably. Things have
Well,
changed.
no, I mean, I did it with Woodstock.
Yeah,
I said, "Look, we're old, we're tired," and Woodstock, admittedly, has become more like a festival than a
yeah,
dog show,
yeah.
which we love. But we were setting up for a Monday and not getting home till the following Monday because we kept adding more, specialties for wanting to come. And I said, "Look, we're gonna just pull the ratchet this back down to 2 days." Everybody said, "Are you out of your mind?" I mean,
Yeah.
even Purina, our dear beloved, beloved Purina, who has sponsored us forever,
Mhm.
and God, what we do without them. What a great crew, great product, great crew, great people. And they said, "We don't do 2-day shows." And I said, "Well, that would really be horrible if we don't have your sponsorship." And so we talked and they said, "Okay, let's just see what your entries are. Let's where the proof is in the pudding." Well,
Mhm.
we had 1,800 dogs on a 2-day show. And she said, "Okay, you showed us. All right, we're here for you." And now we're at 3 days.
Yep.
Um, which we don't want to go back to 4 days if we can possibly help it. maybe we'll add some more specialties maybe. We'll see. I mean, I want to get our entries back up to around 2000, 2200, which I think we can easily do. Um, but I mean, I think that I personally, when people call for 2 day shows, I'm like, oh yeah, that's great. Travel one day, you adjust your days, you travel the day home or maybe even that night, and then you're home and you're with your dogs and you're with your family and you're with your house um again, we're aging out. We're aging. We're old.
When I'm not kidding when I say I'm the youngest one on the panel, at least half the times,
That's
and
scary.
yeah, it is. It really is.
Well, I know when we used to be the young ones. We were
Yes,
like
we
the
were.
whippersnappers, right?
Yes, we
And
were.
now I'm looking around, knees are gone, and cataracts and
If
hearts and
if
everything
I'm
else going
falling
wrong.
apart and every other judge on the panel is older than me, how are they feeling, right? Uh,
Exactly, exactly. And
it
here's the thing. What are the exhibitors? And this is a real dilemma. What the exhibitors? I'm still an exhibitor. I love showing my dogs. What are we going to do when we don't have these stalwart judges that we all respect, that draw entries, that you want their opinion, and they're either ill or they're dying off or whatever's happening. Where's the next generation coming from? I don't. I'm not saying that there aren't some good ones out there, but not like it took us 10 years to get a group. 10
yeah.
years. And when we walked in that ring, we knew what the hell we were doing, right?
Mhm.
And these people that are getting groups in 18 months and 2 years,
But
how
why are they
knowledgeable,
doing that? To
right?
fill the law. I
To
mean,
fill slots, to
and it's
fill
just
slots,
slot fillers.
absolutely. Handing people groups, the AKC's handing people groups that they feel are deserving. Some people say, yeah, maybe they were. Some people say, no, maybe they weren't. That remains to be seen. But we're in a critical place.
Yeah,
We're
we are.
critical. Yeah.
If the open shows were big enough, you could really get someone to, like a good field rep, to watch them and see how many times they screw up. I mean, right now we have 3 times and out, but the entry, for your interviews. But and by the way, we're short field reps right now too.
Yes, we are.
And I mean, I can't even look. A woman sent me a picture. I gave a beautiful Tibetan, terrier, uh, a non-sporting group, Ownerham Sporting Group. She sent me a picture yesterday. I opened up and couldn't stop crying. I wanted to call Lynn.
Yeah,
Lynn
I
Meyer,
know.
one of our greats, is gone, and
Yeah,
it's just
yeah.
it's I think it just shocked the sport. She was so young and so vibrant and so with it and so well loved, not only as a person, as a dog person, as a person who could show, trim, judge anything. You could when you were interviewed by Lynn, you knew the breed she knew the breed you were talking about. It was a pleasure.
Sure.
So I send this picture comes out of the envelope of a Tibetan Terrier, and I think it's beautiful, by the way, and all I wanna do is call her and ask her
Um,
about it, you know? Asking each other about it is what it's all about. And by the way, I mean, I'm sorry it popped up in the middle like this, but, our sympathies, not to the just I mean, the family and, what her mom's gone through, um, and it's just
yeah.
I don't know, it's absolutely so sad and a great reminder of how we need to take care of ourselves, and not only that, just she took care of herself. Be grateful for every day, and don't judge 22 shows in a row. This friend of mine was in the hospital and missed the show this weekend. He just did a 5, wanted to go do a 2 for as a substitute, and he's leaving for Iowa in 3 days to do more shows. We can't do that to ourselves. We've gotta just slow down, but the clubs need them. And you get a guy like Ken Murray on the panel, Jim Moses, there's so many of them that are just so knowledgeable, and they're willing to talk to you about dogs if you have a background. If you're coming up there going, "Teach me everything. When'd you start? 9 years ago. Go away, go learn, and then you can come ask me." You know,
Sure.
we need a broader base of knowledge and time. Um, I see dogs advertised by professional handlers. We were just talking about this. I just sent Kim
We
an
were just
example.
talking about it. Yeah.
It blows my mind. These are professional handlers with dogs that are top winning dogs, and they they put an ad in featuring the dog's worst fault. I mean,
Yes.
res stop doing that. Ask somebody this is what it's
You
supposed to
see
look
it
like. Just
all
because 'cause
the
you're
time.
winning with it doesn't mean it's right. You better ask somebody who knows
Really
that
bad
breed
is
before you post that picture.
when they have Photoshop the one right below it.
Yeah, yeah.
fixed
Forgot to
whatever it
fix
was,
that
and the
there.
one
Oh,
on top
oh,
isn't.
please.
Like, is that the same dog? Okay.
Mm.
You know, I don't know. I think our sports in a real quandary. I really do. I don't know what we're gonna do, how we're gonna fix it. I do love the idea of, the open shows going. If you can't hit a certain number, then you're still allowed to have a show if you want. But we have way too many 200 and 300 dog shows.
Oh, all
I
the time,
mean,
all the time.
and maybe through attrition, how long are these clubs going to be able to afford with a 200 and 300 dog entry to even put on a show? How
Right.
are you going to pay your judges? And the airfares are crazy, and the hotels, like, are they going to just go away because?
I was talking about this with a couple judges last weekend, and this is not whining. 'Cause we do this because we love it. Absolutely. We would never do this if we
Yes,
didn't love it.
yes,
Um, you know, you go pick up 3 suits after the weekend, $90 dry cleaning.
you bet.
Do you have anything in your closet that you wouldn't I'll bet 90% of the clothes in your closet you wouldn't own if you weren't judging. You wouldn't need them.
I wouldn't.
No,
No.
I don't either. I don't need 5 suits and 10 sport coats anymore at all for anything. I need 1 blue blazer and maybe a funeral suit. That's all I really need. Thousands of dollars in that closet, and they get slobber all over them and liver in the pockets and smears from the whatevers, and, well, certain breeds just stink when you get even close to them, so you have to have your suit dry cleaned every
Yeah,
time. But,
yeah.
that's one thing, and the time. It's the time just rearranging your schedules, finding your points, doing the contract, and then we get clubs all the time that don't send us a contract. We take another one, and they call and go, "What's up?" You Facebook messaged me, asked if I wanted to judge. I said, "Yes, please send me a contract," and they don't. Then what are you supposed to do? Um,
Well, what I've started doing is I'll look and I'll see if I want to go, number one.
mhm,
I've also started checking because I fly out of a small airport. So I have to connect through either San Francisco or Denver. And San Francisco's always a nightmare. Well, they're both nightmares. But is it going to take me 3 stops to get somewhere?
mhm.
If it's going to take me 3 stops, so I'll take the information, I'll call you back or whatever. But if it's going to take me 3 stops with a couple of 2 hour layovers, no, I'm not going. I'm just too old. I'm too cranky. I don't want to sit at an airport and possibly miss, your second flight or your third flight, and then you're not going to get in at all. So I think that's a big consideration for people who travel right now. Is also on top of
It is.
everything else, right?
Mhm.
Um,
And
and,
by the
and I
way,
do,
cataract surgery, one of the reasons I went for is because I couldn't drive as well at night,
right,
right?
right,
And,
yeah,
what if you get into an airport at 10 o'clock and find out you have a 2.5 hour drive at night to the show?
sure,
That's happened, more than once. Uh,
yes,
they don't so
especially women when you're by yourself.
yes. Yep.
Even taking Uber as a woman
Mhm.
late at night, there was an incident who I won't even say the state that I prearranged an Uber ride. And they sent you a picture of this picking me up. This was 4 a.m. And the picture of this person, there was no way I was getting in the car with this person. I was like, oh, hell no, 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 no. So I just hit cancel and I canceled it. But,
It could have been the nicest person in the world, but you can't take your chances when it's late at night. You just don't know, and I
and why would anybody put a picture like that on, as to
yeah,
represent them? I'm not really sure, but
right.
I think that women, especially, and a lot of us are single and traveling alone.
Yeah. Hey, judge enough, you're gonna be single eventually. You're gone every weekend, right?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
But, it does become a thing where, safety for everybody's concerned, and when you're a
Yes.
handler, you're driving all hours to go 300 shows a year, 250 shows a year, which means you're always on the road, you're never home.
Yep.
I talk to
Yep.
handlers who have to schedule an oil change for the 2 hours that they're home on a half day. They're just not home. They've
Right.
got you on the road. The more miles the more you're on the road, the more chances for something bad to happen. And, it's just not I have another plan, and I'm working with Chronicle on it now. I can't reveal it yet, but I really think it's gonna change a lot of that. It changes the ranking system in a way that I really think will change a whole lot. A whole lot. Like, it could create its own open show concept. It could result in creating its own levels of show, and it could really stop the stupid going to 300 shows a year. And, because that's not good for people, it's not good for dogs. And by the way, when you're on the road 300 days a year, what are you eating? McDonald's?
Junk food.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
junk food on the
Yeah,
road, truck stop
yeah.
stuff if you're lucky. Maybe you're really lucky and you get to go to, what's the guy with the big beaver on his shirt that's up in the sky and
Or
everybody goes,
Buc-ee's.
Buc-ee's, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I've never
Just
been to Buc-ee's. I
oh,
like it's on my bucket list. I have to go to Buc-ee's. I have never been to
yeah, just
Buc-ee's.
once, but you do have to go
Yeah, just once. Yeah, just once.
because it's the most incredibly run thing I've ever seen in my life. The management does an
Yeah.
incredible job. Anyway, enough of Buc-ee's, but that's where you're eating, and I'm not saying you can't find the right selections in those places, but it's not sitting down, eating a healthy meal. For the handlers that are smart enough and have the time. When I worked for Forsyths, we went to dinner, a real nice dinner, every night together. Now, that required the help to do everything possible. You better have those dogs in, out, clean, perfect, and the whole truck better look perfect. And then you come panting, running into dinner, sweating. I'm ready, Bob. And then, but we,
Yeah.
the clients, we learned how to eat, we learned what to order, and we learned how to sort of be, other than little junior heathens trying to run around, doing everything at once. So those experiences are gone. Club identity's gone. When you went to Monmouth County Kennel Club, it was beautiful. We had green jackets and white pants, the rings, this is Ed McGoff's, Henry Stecker's my dad. These shows were you knew you were there, and everybody in Monmouth County knew you were there. The crowd, the public was there because they knew it was one identifiable event that go one day a year, and it became a picnic and a party. And I can't I can't even count the number of people who brought their families there every year and then decided, "You know what? I think I wanna do this." We don't have that anymore. Do you even know what show you're judging at until you fill out your expense report? You don't even know anymore, you know? It's
You
one
know,
big
I
cluster
don't
of
know what
I'm
state I'm in a lot. Like I get them all mixed up and I'll say, oh, one of the M states or one of the
yeah,
W states. You
exactly.
know,
The M&I states,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, M&I states. The, and the thing about and then you have to pack up, break everything down, and go to Plainfield. Okay, that was inconvenient. But you only had to do it once a week, if you went to all every weekend, because 'cause you're only going to Saturday and Sunday shows, maybe
Right.
Friday thrown in. Um, and by the way, junior showmanship was not available on weekdays, not available.
Yeah.
Now we
There's something
just
to be said about that as well. Yeah.
homeschooling,
Yeah.
nothing you do but we have really got to look at this objectively and say, "Time to reel it in." My last 2 articles have been about some things we can are of concerns, that we need to look at, and my next one, I hope it's the next one or the month after, will I think be an article that could create a glacial shift that could change things a lot. It requires a lot. It requires the magazines to all get along together. But,
Sure.
anyway, the AKC can sell this data to us. They don't need to make it impossible for me to I'm trying to help. I'm trying to help. I just need the numbers, and I don't need to
Here's
go
the other
through
thing that I'm hearing from that I'm hearing from a lot of the permit judges. I still say provisional.
yeah,
And I'm about to step into that with my terrier breeds that I still think I've lost my mind. But anyway, is that they have to be to get an observation, it has to be a major.
yeah,
And these low entry breeds, you just don't get majors. And these 200 and 300 dog shows, you don't get majors. I think we had over 300 at Woodstock this year, but boy, that's rare. So now
yeah,
you're not getting observed, so you're stuck. So you're not learning and you're not seeing dogs and you're not, all of that. So, and some of the reps, when they are majors, are so busy they can't possibly do all of these observations.
right.
So is the answer, and we're short on reps. So, some of the larger shows have 2 reps, but now you're down on reps as well. So, when are these judges gonna get observed? So it's a real quagmire, really.
Mhm. I was at a show a couple weekends ago, and, there were no reps, and it was a 400 and some dog show. It was a high quality turnout of dogs too, and a really good panel. That was David Kirkland and Angela Pickett and I. We just had a wonderful time together. But, y there's gotta be some way to do this because almost everyone's a permit judge now, by the way. Everybody that
Yeah.
I know. Is it is it no matter you've been doing this for 5 you have 6 groups or 5 groups, you still probably are gonna be provisional or permit in 1 or 2. It's not only a problem, Kim, trying to get a major and wire fox terriers to be observed under. When you don't get that many because we've spread the entry so thin,
Yeah.
how are you gonna learn about a breed? When you see this
Yeah.
2 dogs in every show you go to, you just see 2. You might think the one
Yes.
wins all it might be the better one, but what do you know about the breed? You know, what
Yes.
happens when you bring these new breeds
Or
in and
the
they
other thing is, or I was judging, at Marjorie's show in New Jersey, the March Madness, a great cluster, by the way,
great
with
cluster.
some great quality dogs. Yeah, great numbers, great quality dogs, great club members. Um, there are very few class entries. There'll be like maybe,
Mhm.
3 class dogs, and then there'll be 20 specials,
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's not that
so
hard to finish one. Yeah.
right, yeah, but I mean, so you do get to see the quality, but they're all in specials. So, that's also so you're a new judge, and all of a sudden, you don't really get to cut your teeth on like class dogs and sorting for a
Mhm,
major for and all of a sudden, wham, you got 20 specials in front of you. And you're like, okay,
mhm.
let's let's attack this, right? So that's intimidating for judges as well, right?
We are on the job training. That's what
Yes,
we
we
do.
are.
That's how we learn. We are on the job training.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
no one wants to admit that, but you can't go you think you might know about Springer Spaniels, judge a few hundred of them with big entries, 20, 25s, 30 of them repeatedly for a couple of years, you'll learn more. You
you
just
bet.
can't help it. You have to see a variety to compare. And I love the example, and I've talked about it before. You bring me one, I don't know, Polish Lowland sheepdog into an odor handler group, and I'm like, "Oh, you give me 10 of those? I can find the best one, guarantee it, even though I don't know
Sure.
anything about him." But you put one in there by itself with no one to compare it to? Ugh. So
Yeah,
this is when you know
yeah,
you really aren't that dialed in on a breed.
yeah.
Judging when you have something to judge against, it's not that hard. If you have an eye for a dog, and not many people do, I'm finding out. You can teach them all you want, but my goodness, how can you miss
Yeah.
them?
They have to have yeah, and they have to know anatomy, which a lot of them don't, but, I think that there's nothing like just getting in there. I mean, me with my terriers, I'm, like, terrified. I have 12 now,
You're
and
terrified.
I am terrified. I am, and I'm not Bill McFadden came up to me this last at Woodstock, and he said, "So, are you ever gonna judge your 12 briefs?" I said, "Not yet, not yet. I'm still doing nationals, I'm still doing in
Yeah.
rings, and I'm going to Montgomery." And he's like, okay, well, I have, like, 3 clubs that are interested in hiring you." I said, "No, no, no." He said, "Well, these are for next year. Do you think you'll be ready by then?" And I'm like, "I don't know."
But if you
You know?
put a Facebook post up and say, "We need a terrier judge," oh, you'll get 1,000 responses from people you never heard of, and that's the
Exactly,
problem.
exactly.
You would learn by judging. You need to just start judging them. You have
I
an eye
know
for a
that's
dog.
what
You know
I know
balance.
that Betty Ann said to me, "Just get in there and start slugging it out," right?
It's
But,
true. It's
I'm
true.
the opposite. I'm like, I don't wanna walk in and make an ass out of myself because I want people to know that I'm trying really hard and I'm trying to understand. I hopefully have a good eye for a dog. But, as opposed to there's a whole crowd now, the younger ones that just they'll judge anything. Just give
Yeah,
them to them.
yeah,
Let me in there,
yeah. Let me in,
So
coach. By the way, the thing about terriers that you're really afraid of is you mess up in front of terrier people, they're terriers. They're gonna let you know.
oh, I know. Oh,
They're gonna
trust me. I trust me.
yeah,
I know.
let you know.
I grew up in Southern California with, Rick Kashudian and Wood Warnall
Yeah, yeah,
and Eddie Boys and
yeah.
and then we had the two nice ones. We had Bergen and Bill
Yeah,
McFadden.
yeah, yeah.
The re- the
Dude,
rest of them were like really mean. And when they lost, boy, they were
woo.
happy and they let the judges know, and I would go, yikes,
Yeah, we had it on the East Coast too, I can assure you. But,
Yeah,
and I in the th but again, we're gonna need to you're just gonna need to judge those, and then learn as you go, 'cause you're not gonna
sure.
see enough Ceskies. Well, I'm talking about yes, they're terriers, right?
Yeah,
You're not gonna learn about and I can't tell you how many terrier people say, "You've gotta apply for terriers. You'd be great at this. Look what we have to put up with every weekend." And I think what they're saying is, "Those people are so bad that even you could do it, Kavanaugh." And look,
yeah,
it's
I
all
sort of wanted
relative.
to
It
I'd
all
rather have you doing it than somebody else,
yeah,
right? I know, but it's
it's
just
all
like
relative.
getting your brave shoes on,
Yep,
I guess.
yeah, exactly.
But,
But
and then, I don't know what the answer is with there is an answer. There isn't an answer for the cancellations, and all of us in that group are all aging out and getting old and having health issues. And I don't know what the answer is. I can tell you, it's terrorizing for clubs trying to replace people at the last minute. It's really
Well,
difficult.
we had a wonderful example of that in the sport that I love, hockey. This year, the Stanley Cup. Congratulations to Carolina Hurricanes. I am so damn excited for those boys. I'm just thrilled they won the cup. Sorry, Las Vegas fans. Our boys are cooler and nicer. But anyway, the way this worked is this guy named Bussy was the saver who came in and won he won the Stanley Cup.
Right?
And he won it as
Yeah.
soon as Anderson got hurt. Now, what people don't know is that Bussy was down in somewhere in Florida playing for some ECHL team or something, and he got cut. And he knew, or maybe he was playing for the AHL, and he was going to get sent down to Greenville or something. So he put his resume on LinkedIn a month ago. A month ago.
Seriously.
He and his fiance are driving up from Florida to come home and try to get that new job and maybe play in the minors another, a season or so. He gets a call. Hey, where are you? Well, we're in North Carolina. Well, that's good because you're not too far away because we need you to play in the Stanley Cup Finals tomorrow. What? So, and by the way, he played here at Western Michigan University. We know the guy. We
Yeah.
don't know him personally, but we know he's a good
Yeah.
goalie. He just got pushed and shoved around and not loved. And Rod Brindamore trusted him, and he sure as heck made a case for being great. But they have a thing in hockey called emergency backup goalie, e-bugs, emergency backup goalie. We call them e-bugs. Brody was one. So you bring 2 goalies to the show and maybe 3, and sometimes they all get hurt or sick, and you don't have a goaltender. And they get a guy who plays in the beer league at night, who used to be a goaltender, but he's, working at an executive job or something, and all of a sudden you have to call him. But every team has to have an e-bug on call. And then no, then the chance of them getting called is gonna be 1,000,000 to 1, and it might even be a chance that they're not gonna play, but at least there'll be the backup goalie on the bench 'cause you need to have at least one guy always have to one guy back up, right? So you can't
Question about that then. Is the club paying for the e-bugs to be there?
they
Playing
don't have to be there,
paying
they just have to be nearby.
Okay, nearby.
Yes, and the
Okay.
hockey club pays them, yeah. Hockey club pays them.
Okay.
So you are you're designated, "Hey, we got a couple e-bugs in town, we know who they are, if we need them,
Yeah.
you can call them. Here's their numbers, and you call them." And some clubs make it a habit of having e-bugs in certain places where they have, but yeah, Brody was skating, he was doing a men's skate, and he was young and studly and very good at that point, but he was in school, and, he was doing a men's skate in the morning, and, guy called him over and, said, "Hey, what are you doing?" It's 6 o'clock, and brother, "I'm probably eating dinner." "No, actually, you're gonna play against Chicago Express." And whoop, and he got paid, and they had a jersey with his name on it by the time he got to practice a couple hours later. So we don't
Amazing.
have that. We almost need emergency backup judges assigned to every cluster or show, that hold the date.
That's
Yeah,
not a bad idea,
yeah,
especially if you have judges in your local area. Really, I mean, yeah, they may be judging elsewhere on that weekend,
right.
but it wouldn't hurt to find out, are they going to be home? I mean, well, like, poor George Antonovich with this, it
Yeah.
takes a lead for this last weekend. It was looks like, I like, George, you're going to shut your boot down. He goes, what do you mean I'm going to shut it down? I said, because you're going to be judging. I am? I go, well, yeah, shut your boot down, right? So, but I think that you have just hit on something there.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
not, I mean,
serious.
how many judges, especially if you've got some permit judges that have most of the group, part of the group, that on an emergency basis they could step in? That's really not a bad idea, Wayne.
And maybe the AKC or the reps should say, "Okay, this person has 3 groups, but really can do all of them on an emergency basis." And we're talking about emergency basis. So,
Right.
put that person on your application, for your show and make sure that person knows, that you may be called, because otherwise, I mean, Fankhauser was going
Judges would
crazy
jump
about it.
at that.
Yeah,
I bet they would jump at that.
yeah,
Yeah. That's
and there's
a hell of an idea.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's something to throw out there, but I've not been to a show in a long time, and there wasn't you go back would you have 5 of those cards hanging up? Change of judges would be superintendent's booth?
Like, yeah, the whole wall was full.
Yeah,
The whole wall, literally the whole. I'm sure we must have set some sort of record.
Mhm.
I can't imagine that
Yep.
there would be anything worse with a $1,900 dog show. Yeah,
And there has to be a rep or someone at the AKC that can say, "Okay, maybe they're not licensed for that, but they can do it." Um,
right,
we've got
right.
plenty of people who are way that can do so many more breeds than they are
Absolutely.
and
They
then we
for
have a
whatever.
whole lot more that shouldn't be doing them.
Yeah, yeah,
But that's the way our
yeah,
system works, and there's not much you can do about
yeah.
it. So, I don't know. We gotta change the mileage between shows, create a new rating system that I'm gonna talk about when I can, that can structure that and put the open show category to be a cool thing. If you're a small club and you're only getting 250 dogs now, you can put on a heck of a match, a heck of an open show, a meet the breeds, your county can know it's every year and come out. You can invite them to advertise to the public. By the way, the AKC knows everybody who registered a dog everywhere. So
Sure.
if you say, I'm in the 49009 area code, I'm going to put on a match and an open show and some educational stuff. Everybody within, 50 miles of me that has registered a dog, just tell them we have an event. They don't have to be, certainly don't have to be show dogs or even obedience dogs or anything. Just, hey, you
Yeah,
want a purebred dog? We know that. It's free to send an email. We know your emails, by the way, too, when you register your dog. So send an email blast for 100 miles around, 50 miles around saying, hey,
yeah. Why hasn't
there's a
that ever
thing
been
coming
done
up.
in the past? That's a great idea. Why hasn't that been done? I mean, there's a great opportunity.
Well,
I kind of am digging on this ebook thing with the judges, especially if you tell permit judges, you take their zip code within a certain mileage and you say, you've got this kennel club, and list the kennel clubs, and then you let those kennel clubs know this is who you have in your geographical area on permit.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, that's a hell of an idea, and I
yeah.
bet you they would jump at it, you bet.
And maybe it's even I mean, there's some people sitting home, Paul Edwards, poodle extraordinaire, and a great dog man, and super eye. He doesn't wanna go through the hassle of going through all these applications. He should be judging, and I understand he doesn't wanna go through what we have to go through with the applications and the screening and all that, nor should he. But he might be willing to just jump up and be an e-bug someday. And
You
maybe
bet,
there's people that
bet.
are
Maybe
that
there's a
good that we just know, um,
yeah.
that don't even have to be approved. I don't know. But there's
Well, I mean,
ways
I
to
look at, Jorge and Susie. They're not the least bit we're not going through all that, you
right,
know?
right. I'm pretty
I
sure
was
they could
really
justify
happy.
it. Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty sure they could get
absolutely,
through that. Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, that's a whole cool idea. I'm liking this, and I bet you the permit judges would as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, you have to do it. I mean, we're gonna have to do it. But I really think that these shows that these clubs don't have to fold. And by the way, extinction, it's not always a bad thing. Do you want dinosaurs stepping on your house right now? So so if extinction is horrible in most cases, but do we need clubs that are barely hanging on and losing money? Those people have put their life into this thing. They love what they
Yes.
do, but there's
Yeah.
just not the interest in their area anymore or the
Yeah.
population anymore in their region.
Yeah.
Maybe they
Yeah.
need to get together and do something else or, split the dishes and move on. But I think there's an
Yeah.
opportunity for this match open show thing where if the expense isn't gonna be as much. You can probably get away with a venue. We've had them in people's backyards, big backyard.
Sure.
One of the
Yeah.
biggest Irish Wolfhound shows every year is in Gretchen Bernardi's backyard. It's not an official show. Silverwood isn't either. But that's where you go. Uh,
Mhm.
People still have those properties. They can hold 150 dogs, 200 dogs. You don't need to rent the convention center to do it. So there's
Right.
ways to
Right.
stratify this and to have different we need to a lot more thought and process and creativity into the system to build these things, but it can be done. Don't tell me it can't because, so what are you gonna do about it? Nothing? Yeah, there's plenty of things you can do. Mileage will help it fall away. A new ranking system will help it fall away. Giving judges and having clubs have options to do other things, to have open shows. Um, Maybe they don't want to fold, but they can probably put on a 100 dog show and as an open show. And then you can structure those open shows to say you can get points there, you can't get points, you can get championship points, but not in a major, whatever you want to do to keep them intact and keep them active and serve their community. Dog clubs used to serve their community. What a concept
Yeah.
that was. It worked for about
Yeah.
80
And,
years.
with the limited amount of, venues that are local that people can, walk to or bring their families to,
Right.
is getting more and more rare. I mean, so yeah,
It is. It is.
yeah,
And, you lose rounds late sometimes too. So we've got to have some workarounds. We don't need 1,724 championship dog shows in America. That's just my feeling. The reasons for it are A, it's crazy that dogs have to go to that many shows to get ranked, and we do. It's crazy that the dog's health, the handler's health, by the way, the judge's health, the steward's health, the superintendent's health, the photographer's health, going to that many events a year. It's ridiculous. It's just not healthy. And we're going to burn out, and people already do burn out and leave. It's too expensive to have to play. If you want a top winning dog, you don't have to go to 3-man shows. Well, you can't because you don't have the money. Maybe you have it to go to 100 shows. Um,
yeah.
there's so many things that we can do to make that worthwhile. Also, when you can do this thing and cut down the champion on the number of shows, you're gonna get a better judging population. It's just gonna have to be that way. You're not gonna have the complaints we have now. You're not gonna have to be bringing in judges from other countries that haven't seen 14 dogs in their life not their fault. It's by the way, it's not their fault. We're putting them in these positions, because we have no option, and they're all breed. They're all breeder or approved for multi groups and
Well, look at the Canadian judges. I mean, people,
and by the
quite
way,
frankly, like
there are some great Canadian judges. Let's
there's
but
many good
many
Canadian
of them
judges.
yeah.
So people bang on them all the time, which is not fair. However, they do live, many of them, in very remote areas. They have maybe one show in their area, if at all, and there are 200 dog shows. And they go through an average. I think we were on a list a couple years ago, about 10 years to become an all breed judge, but they don't get to see the amount of dogs. So it's not a matter of that they're bad judges. It's just that they live remotely. They don't get to see that many dogs, right? And the ones that get judge a lot, and especially that judge in the United States, there are some very, very good ones. But I think it's all about seeing dogs and getting your hands on them and being, not living in remote areas.
It's on the job training. And when
Sure
you don't have
is.
any dogs to train on, I don't care if it's 10 years or 25 years, if you just haven't seen enough good ones in groups of
Yeah.
at least 10, you're never going to develop that eye. It just doesn't work that
Yep.
way. Your
Yep.
brain doesn't work
Exactly.
that way. You can't, it's like seeing the only Spanish ward dog in a owner handler group. That's the only one you ever get to see. Go try to do the
Sure.
national. You make an idiot of yourself because you haven't judged
Yeah.
bunches. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's the system needs so much work. And I'm done. I don't want to be the one complaining there's too many. I want to start, and my last couple articles that talked about that, how we can start tapering it down. And hopefully, the next few issues or towards the end of the year, I can have some more concrete suggestions. Not just me. I need to hear from other people. Let them write it too. We're all complaining about it, but not enough's getting done. And I think it's time that we get bold and creative decisions. If the AKC doesn't want to do it because they like the fact that there's lots of shows, and some people say they do like that, maybe there's other ways we can taper that and work together. Um, you know, the idea that they now, if you have an obedience title dog, there's a show coming up, and they can send you an email to say, hey, there's an obedience show coming up. I know they can do that. We did that in another registry, and they kind of picked up on it. So there's some of that going on. It can get better. It can go to any owner. Um, uh, the way I did it was, did you know that your dog has a champion this, champion that, and any, confirmation detail of obedience, was sired by, or the mother was, we talked to them, um, and your dog has that pedigree. Would you like to go see what that's like at this event? We did that, and we got the public to come to a lot more events.
Great
So
idea.
there's
Yeah.
lots of ways. Lots of
Great
ways.
idea. Yeah.
We need
Yeah.
creative thinking. We need to stop just thinking that it's still 1964. I wish it was for dog shows. I wish it was 1980 because
Yeah,
we
the
were
'80s
registering
were
1,000,000
the
dogs a year.
late '70s and '80s were awesome, awesome
Yeah,
years. Yeah.
registering 1.3 million dogs a year instead of 300,000 or 400,000.
Yeah.
It was a
Yeah.
different time. We're lucky to have lived it. But,
We sure.
there is room for everybody in this sport, and if you're new, don't get discouraged. You can find your way through. There's ways. My son works a whole lot. And, he has patience to see, and it's not easy to just get away from him. He's managing to find he'll look at me and go, "It's Saturday and Sunday. Are these judges any good?" I don't care if I can win. Or there's someone you would ask for their opinion. And I'll say yes or no. That's how he spends his money. And you can
Yeah.
do it that way. Um, you can do it. There's plenty of ways to participate without going to 300 shows a weekend and still enjoy it. In fact, you might enjoy it more. You might learn more, and you might not get discouraged from terrible judging. I'm not saying we all have terrible judging, but it could be better. And some shows, by the way, it is terrible. I hate to say it, but it's true. You've been on those
Having
panels.
campaigned a dog last year, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's but there's, there's some great ideas we've tossed out here, some really great ideas that I
Well,
think
more to
we
go.
should. Yeah. Yeah.
Mary Dukes did a wonderful thing. She sent me, or she just posted something saying, um, "It's great. We all know this. What are the solutions?" And yeah, she's inspired to me to do even more research. It takes me so much time to hand count this stuff. I don't have I might as well get an abacus and just start doing the beads. It's that ancient. But
Well, you would think that AKC would have something more concrete, that
you'd have to
would
have a
make it a
creative enough mind to say we need that data. How can we
yes.
use it? They had the
Yes.
greatest gold mine of data, and in my opinion, they're not doing enough mining of that data to make money for themselves and to help people breed better dogs. And they get all the OFA stuff dumped to them. They don't do a thing with it, and help them put on better shows. A great AKC idea is a seminar coming up. Might be today or tomorrow. How to improve your show, how to make it a better show. That's the coolest thing they've done all year. I don't know how it's going to be, but it seems to me like that's a really good effort in trying to get shows to improve themselves, so they improve their entry. We
Sure.
all need to get better at everything we do, including us.
Yep. It's
And
all about thinking outside the box.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
what it's
I've got a
about. Yeah.
Barbet National coming up, and I'm thrilled to do it because I love the breed, and I've seen plenty of them in other countries and here. But, you don't think I'm gonna be spending the rest of this next couple months learning even more and more and more about Barbet? I have no problem walking in and finding the best one. That's not what you wanna do. You wanna know why, and you wanna be able to think to yourself, "If I had that dog, I'd breed to that bitch over there." You wanna get your
Yeah.
mind thinking as a breeder. Um, so, yeah. Until I can be there, I don't wanna put myself in a spot, so off we go. I love the Barbade people, by the way. They are the coolest group of people,
They
one of
are.
the nicest group of people. They all work together, and the good news is some of them also have English Toy Spaniels now.
Oh, that's
It makes it even
interesting.
cooler. Makes it
Yeah.
even cooler, yeah.
That's interesting.
Oh, one more thing. Some people are opposed to getting placement in the group to get your majors. Let me tell you, I am not. With an English Toy Spaniel, I can go to the next 50 shows and see none, or maybe 1 or 2.
Yes.
By placing the group 3 times in 1 weekend, I finished 'em, um, and I got to do it by competing against good dogs. They wouldn't have a couple that were good in my breed too, but not in the group. And I've done it with pointers, I've done it with plenty of breeds. Irish Wolfhounds, you don't see many of those at shows. If you go to the National, count on 300.
Yeah. Yeah.
Alright, lots in one podcast. We got a lot going on. Kim, it's been a pleasure. Thanks to Tom and Amy and the Canine Chronicle for their support. We want your ideas. Send them all to Kim's email. It's available in the judge's book.
We
And
do though. Seriously,
it's
guys,
true.
anyone
We
listening
do.
to us on some of this stuff we're throwing around, we want to hear from you. I mean,
By the way,
maybe, yeah,
apologies on the articles that I've posted on
yeah.
Facebook from the Chronicle. When I say 65,000 views, I'm not kidding. And I've gotten a lot of emails and messages. I'm trying to get back to all of them. I can't always, so forgive me if I can't. Some of them are so long and detailed, they're wonderful. But I'm trying. Um, and that's not just because I don't think it's because we're smart. I don't think it's because we're writing something interesting. I think it's people are hungry for change. They're hungry for
Well,
great.
and maybe we'll get sophisticated enough at some point that we can have some of these people on that are great idea people and interview them on our podcast, and
I'm
well,
sure there are plenty of smarter people than me and more creative people than me that
not
and we
many.
all need to
I will
chip in.
say, I'm gonna pat you on the back here, my friend. I think you're one of the honestly from the bottom of my heart, one of the best dogmen on the planet. And also Tom and Amy Gravy with Canine Chronicle. Again, same type of people, just great people, smart people, good business people, yourself included. You should have been judging a long time ago. We know that.
Well, when Jimmy Moses called me, I've told this story a million times, and said, you gotta get back to judging," and, I said, "I don't know, it's just too much of a hassle," and he said, "First of all, it's in your blood, you can't help it, and second
Right.
of all,
That's
I'm tired of eating lunch with dumb people." I swear to you,
yeah.
true.
Yeah. No, no.
We
Yeah.
wanna
Yeah.
talk about dogs, that's what we wanna do,
We
we
do.
love it.
We do.
And
With
yeah,
smart
and we
people.
learn from
Yeah.
each other every day too. So anyway,
You bet.
all that and more. Thanks again. We're signing off. We have a both of us. I didn't even have any coffee today. We're just on a rampage. Thanks, Kim, as always. We'll be back at it again. We're gonna try to get more regular at these. Our schedules and our health have been a little detour the last few months, and we
Yeah.
hope to talk to you soon. Let us know what you're thinking. Let the Chronicle know what you're thinking, and keep going to the shows in a way that's good and healthy and positive for you, so you can enjoy the sport. It's supposed to be fun. Thanks.
It's it, it's all about fun. Come to Wolfstock. It's all about fun. You'll understand. And all the naysayers and the gossipers and there's a
Well,
thing that went down last week. With people running to the reps and saying crazy things. Ignore all those people. There's crazy people in all walks of life.
we really need Westminster, we need Morris, Essex, we need the shows around, we need we also need some fun. They don't have to all be it would be terrible if they were all Woodstock or if they were all Westminster. We wanna
Right.
include everybody and have a variety, but don't stop being
Absolutely.
creative and thinking. Anyway,
Right.
we gotta go. Thanks, Kim. Until next time, I'm Wayne Kavanaugh, and she's
Kimberly Meredith.
and guess
And
what?
guess what?
We're
We're
still
still
standing.
standing.
Good night, everyone.